Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. The second phase of Lok Sabha elections is over, and this is across 88 seats and 13 states and union territories. The voter turnout till 3 p.m., what I'm told is the average voter turnout is 50.24. And mind you, the voter turnout in Bihar and Maharashtra are the lowest. Maharashtra with a voter turnout of 43.01 and Bihar with a voter turnout of 44.24. Tripura so far has registered the highest. And Maharashtra and Bihar are the two states where we saw a lot of politics happening. It became a major political ground, and all kinds of dynamics playing out in both those states. So we'll have to discuss all of that. But how are the odds stacked up across these 88 seats and across 13 states? And which way is the wind blowing? Are we in a position to say that India Alliance's narrative has taken over the BJP's narrative? Because we still hear Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, and all the leaders of BJP not talking about their manifesto, not talking about their achievements, but for them, the story is the Congress manifesto, the redistribution of wealth, and Sam Petroda's comment lately, which he made on the inheritance tax. So we'll just try and discuss all of this. Joining me now is K.S. Dakshin Murthy, who's the managing editor of The Federal. Thank you, Dakshin, so much for joining. We have Javed Ansari, senior journalist and editor, political commentator. Thank you so much. We have Girish Joshi, senior journalist, political commentator, joining us. Thank you so much. And Anil Sharma joins us from Rajasthan, political commentator and senior journalist. Thank you so much for joining. And let me begin with Javed Ansari. Javed, how are the odds really stacked up in these 88 seats? We saw a very low voter turnout last time. The average was around 60%, and what I'm told is up to 3 p.m. is just about 50.25. So would it be right to say that there is no excitement in the voters so far?
But if this trend holds, then indeed what you're saying will prove to be correct, and that cannot be good news for the BJP and for the government. And that also means that earlier it was only Mangal Sutra, now tomorrow it could be Sindoor. The noises will get shriller, the bar will be set lower. I don't know how much lower it can go, but nonetheless, and everything will then be par for course. Because right now, the Congress has not done even 15%, put in 15% of the effort to try and publicize its manifesto compared to what the BJP is doing. The BJP has gone to town. Even those who hadn't read the manifesto are now reading the manifesto and looking for things that don't exist. The allegation that BJP made, a large part of which doesn't exist. With regards to how things stand today, look, I still believe that it is the BJP which is ahead. Do not forget that once they come to the Hindi heartland, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, they will take a hit, and Bihar. These are places where they are expected to do better than what they've done now. But when I say they're still ahead, this pipe dream of 370 and 400 and all, you can forget. Already there's evidence that they're dialing down on that number. And don't be too surprised if one of these days they say कि ये तो जुमला था. So, jumla or no jumla, the fact is that they are not anywhere within striking distance of 370, 350. They should consider themselves very happy, very lucky if they get past 272. But having said all that, I still do believe that it's the BJP which is ahead.
Right. Now let me come to Anil. Anil, how are the odds stacked up in Rajasthan today across the 13 seats which are going to polls?
I've just got Niluji from Election Commission till 5 o'clock. Data is 59.19% in Rajasthan on 13 seats, which is quite good. If you look at the 19th, we had 12 seats. In comparison to that, this percentage seems to be quite high. And surprisingly, it is the highest in Banswara, where PM talked about this,
Mangal Sutra.
And Mangal Sutra, yes, Mangal Sutra. There it has touched almost 68% by 5. Another 1 hour is there. So it might increase by 3 or 4%, I think. So it should be about 64, 65, which should be equivalent to a Lok Sabha poll last time. Should be. I think so. But in comparison to Vidhan Sabha, yes, there will be substantial drop in the polling. Now, 13 seats went to polls today, and out of this 13, I think on at least five, BJP is in tough fight with Congress. It is not an easy fight. On the seats like Tonk Savai Madhopur, where Sachin Pilot comes from, the Tonk constituency, and there we have got large number of or dominant force of Gujars and Minas, and likewise, there is a tough fight in Jodhpur. People will thinking it will be very easy for Mr. Gajen Singh Shekhawat to win it, but Karan Singh Uchiyada of Congress has really put in a great effort. Similarly, Jalore, Vaibhav Galot started from scratch, but he has been able to come up to a level, where people are talking about he might win or he can win, at least to that position. Then I'll come to Banswara, which is where I said the polling percentage has been highest so far. And it is a travel belt. It is a completely travel belt. And seeing this percentage of voting going there is really surprising for me. Very surprised, really. And I think here also, because it has been given to India Alliance, and here I think uh, they have got a candidate, Rajkumar Roth from BAP party. Here, I think there's going to be tough fight. And likewise, I think Kota, where Mr. Om Birla is fighting, though he might win, but Prahlad Gunjal is putting in a tough fight. And the last is Jhalawad Bara, where obviously Dushyant Singh, no one can beat him, who is son of Vasundhara Raje. Jhalawad Bara, I think, is going to one way towards BJP. So I'm sure on these seats, they are going to have really tough fight. But one must remember, on all of these 13 seats, BJP traditionally have been a, I'll say, winner. Almost in all the election, majority of elections, they have been winner because RSS and BJP cadre in these areas are very strong. So I think Congress giving a tough fight or India Alliance giving a tough fight even on 5 seats out of 13 in these makes confident. Congress should be very confident about it now
So you
because
were
I
saying
think the
that
polling percentage
you were
has
saying
increased.
right. So Anil, for the number of seats which are going to polls today in Rajasthan, you would see the contest on an even keel between BJP and Congress
I'm seeing kind of a tough competition, at least on 5 seats.
on five
Rest
seats.
seats, I think, are going to go to BJP.
Okay. Okay.
Seems like now, we are talking to the people on the ground, and the reports we are getting, because this tribal belt, people are much worried about change in constitution or scrapping of constitution. They are worried on what will happen to our reservations. So these are the issues in these areas which
Right.
might vary to another seat, so here I think Congress or India Alliance, better to say India Alliance, because India Alliance person is fighting on this seat, is seems to be in comfortable position. So I think on 5 seats, Congress is giving a tough fight to BJP.
All right.
Who wins, who loses, that is to be seen.
Right. All right. Sharad Pradhan, senior journalist, author, and political commentator, also joins us. Sharadji, thank you so much for joining. 8 seats in Uttar Pradesh today going to polls. How do you see the contest playing out, and what is the kind of difference you see in the second phase as compared to the first phase?
I think the situation is about the same, like just as in the first phase, as compared to the 2019 outcome. Our Bharatiya Janata Party had 3 of the 8 seats. And going by that, this in this phase, BJP had 7 of the 8 seats. But this time, it doesn't. The picture seems to be weaker for the BJP in both the first phase as well as the second phase. And the second phase, I'll just give you an example. Unlike and let me tell you that first. Let me tell you that seven of the out of the 7 seats, the eighth one had been grabbed by BSP, and the BSP nominee Danish Ali is the person who has walked over to the Congress, and Congress has fielded him
From
from,
Amroha. Yes.
yeah, from Amroha. Now, and BSP, of course, is quite frustrated over that, and BSP is moving heaven and earth. Mayawati would want the opposition to lose every seat, and assisting the BJP in doing so. So she's fielded her wherever there's a Muslim candidate of the opposite of the India alliance, she's fielded her Muslim nominee to dig into that vote. But how much of it will work is a very difficult question. But they all feel that even not only Amroha, this time even Meerut is an uphill task for the BJP. And you can just imagine that in Meerut, which is the most important city of Western UP, which is a very major
So,
constituency.
Sharatji,
BJP.
would it be right to say that there are no takers for the glamour quotient also? You said Hema Malini from Mathura, I mean,
Well,
Arun Govind from Meerut. What about Hema
Hema
Malini?
Malini is Hema Malini continues to be a glamour, but not Arun Govil. Arun Govil, a lost and forgotten character. You know, he is the serial, the Ramayan serial of Raman and Sagar, which was a hit at those in the 80s, in the late 80s. Now
Right.
you handpick somebody after 37 years. The guy who was 27 years old and who's now in his late 60s. Now, how do you expect a lot of people, they have to be told that he's the guy. He's
Hmm.
carrying his own pictures of that serial to tell
Right.
the voters that I am the same guy who did this role. So it is
If I
very
can just add one something
Yes,
to
Sharat.
what Sharadji is saying, even at the height of his popularity, he was Congress Party star campaigner in 1987
Yeah.
against VP Singh when that Allahabad by-elections was taking place, and Congress Party lost that. So
lost
even at
that.
the height of his popularity, he couldn't
And
pull it off.
his the Ramayan Sita, the fake Sita is also there, and Deepika Chilaya or whatever she was
Yeah,
called,
yeah, yeah.
and the
Chikalia,
guy who
Chikalia,
plays
sir.
Lakshman. So
Yes.
what I'm
Chikalia.
trying to say, Nilu, is that one needs to understand if this reflects the Bharatiya Janata Party's desperation. They this also reflects how the Ram Mandir per se is not working in this part of the country, which is quite shocking for, I mean, even, I mean, I found it very unbelievable. But the fact of the matter is that because Ram Mandir is not working, they had to get an adopted Ram to convey. He is not a 5-year-old Ram now, which Mr. Modi loves to carry with and tell the world that hum ye leke aaye hain Ram ko. So anyway, he has brought this Ram, and
Hmm.
this Ram is in dire states. Poor
Right.
chap. So,
So,
this is
Charanjit,
another seat which is
interesting
in
matter.
for.
I think no, but the audience also would want to know that from UP, lately Yogi Adityanath made a comment saying that if India Alliance forms a government, that they will bring on a Sharia law. Then today the same thing was repeated by Amit Shah. Now, what are the issues which are gaining resonance in Uttar Pradesh? Is it Sharia law? Is it Ram Temple? Or is it what the Congress manifesto is talking about? What are the issues really playing out on the ground in Uttar Pradesh? What
Well,
do you think?
people in general now, yes, some people would get misguided by this false campaign, which is based on complete falsehood, because there's no talk of Sharia law. But BJP excels in converting lies into truth, and I think that's the training they get in the RSS. You utter one lies 200 times, and people start believing that to be true, which is what they are trying here, and that again reflects BJP's failure to encash and take political mileage out of the temple. So they have to resort to, and the kind of things Modi has himself stooped down to the level of talking about Mangal Sutra and all that crap, which makes no sense. But it does make sense to that audience, which in other words are called Modi Bhakts. So they will believe anything because that's the kind of narrative he builds, and those people lap it up. But
Right.
that's not the case with the entire. That is a chunk of the voters do, but the larger chunk doesn't believe in this. And I find that even some of his bhakts have started questioning. That I heard people saying, "अरे अब तो बहुत कुछ ज़्यादा ही हो गया, मोदी जी कुछ ज़्यादा ही बोल गए," because nobody is ready to believe that a law will come where your property will be taken over and given away to Muslims, and Muslims being described as Ghuspattis and whatnot. That I fail to understand. I could never imagine that somebody like Mr. Modi, who claims to be Vishwa Guru, who claims to be an international figure, who's taking India to the next gen has to come down to fabricating stories and adding fabricating stuff in the Congress manifesto also. I don't know. Congress manifesto doesn't have all those things which Mr. Modi, Mr. Amit Shah, and Mr. Yogi Adityanath has been trying to spread. So all this shows that it's tough call for the BJP to retain its 7 seats in this second phase. And all this, mind you, started happening after the first phase of polling, where BJP realized that it is not been able to retain what it had in 2019. And in this case, other than Meerut and this one, Danish Ali's seat, Amroha, there is also a tough fight in Bulandshahr. And one can't say, but fact of the matter is that if I am telling you that even if BJP is unable to retain its 7 seats, that's a big defeat for the BJP, because they are claiming to go beyond, far beyond 80 pe 80. So even Ghaziabad, things are not easy, because Ghaziabad, they did away with the General VK Singh, who was a very lovable MP for the people, for the constituents. He had won 2 elections from there, and for no reason he was shunted out. Quite money with a guy with loads of money has been given his ticket in place of him, and that is where, mind you, that is from where the Thakurs of UP rose up in arms against the BJP, because they felt that there was no reason for VK Singh to be shunted out for no reason. So these are the kind of things which are already visible there, and this is no mean task for the BJP to.
Absolutely.
The reason why VK Singh has not been renominated is because he was not very enthusiastic about this stupid Agnivir scheme. He was not supportive, and that's why
I've heard this story. Yes.
the good general has now paid a price for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So now let me come to the southern belt, where Karnataka and Kerala, 20 seats in Kerala and 14 seats in Karnataka. Dakshin, how do the odds really play out? We have big players over there like Tejasvi Surya. Then, of course, you have Rajiv Chandrasekhar versus Shashi Tharoor. This battle is playing out in the southern belt. How are the seats really stacked up? What is the kind of competition we see? If you could give us a lowdown on that.
So out of 28 seats, 14 seats are, went to polls today, are still going, and the elections are still going on. And the percentage of voting, etc., it's more or less, similar like every year. It's about 51, 52% so far. Point here is, it's really, this particular phase is an election where it's a make or break for the Janata Dal S, for the Janata Dal Secular, because all the 3 seats they're contesting, and, they better do well. Otherwise, it's going to be a big issue for them. And as far as the remaining 11 seats are concerned, you see in Karnataka, for the last 4 previous Lok Sabha elections, the BJP has done very well. In fact, in the last elections, they got 25 seats out of 28. So, but then, and the Congress got just 1 seat, and that seat went to polls today, which is Deputy Chief Minister Shiv Kumar's brother, DK Suresh. But that apart, things may change, or at least on the face of it, because of the very aggressive campaign mounted by the Congress party, which is in power. So obviously, you have the entire ruling apparatus, coming to the help of the Congress, and they have been very aggressive. They've been very aggressive, trying to demolish this figure of Modi and saying how Modi has not done anything for Karnataka. And they have kind of figuratively called it an empty vessel. It's called Chombu in Kannada. Chombu in Kannada means an empty vessel, and it's used very, very pejoratively. Okay, so all that Modi did for Karnataka was given empty vessel. It's called Chombu. Okay, so that somehow seems to have resonated. But whether these things will work or not, we don't know, because so far, as far as assembly was concerned, you had the state, you had the Congress coming to power, but that in no way means that the results can get replicated for the Lok Sabha. So Karnataka, has a tradition where voters vote differently for the Lok Sabha and for the assembly. So the Congress in the last over a period of a month or so have been desperately trying to break that and say that even if you vote for the BJP, you will get nothing. Okay, so but you see, if you vote for the Congress party, you will still have people from here who will represent Karnataka's interests in Delhi, and so this is the kind of line that they have been addressing. But it's really it's a uphill task for the Congress, and whether their all the campaign efforts that they are putting in, whether it will work or not, we need to see. I mean, I wouldn't really place my bet on either Congress or the BJP as of the moment.
Dakshin, it would be interesting to know the impact of Prime Minister Modi's speech, what he said in Banswara in Rajasthan, talking about the redistribution of wealth, Muslims as infiltrators, as a community which produces too many children. What is the kind of impact on which you see in Karnataka and probably in the southern belt?
Yeah. See, in Karnataka, the BJP over the last month or so have been desperately trying to polarize, pick up issues that would show this Hindu-Muslim binary. Like, recently you had the case of a student being hacked to death, the Hindu student being hacked to death by a Muslim student. In some case of some relationship, the victim was a woman and
Yeah.
the accused was a male. And then there was an issue about how there was allegedly there was an attempt by not to allow a store owner to play Hanuman Chalisa, which was all. I mean, it's really not. This is not the case, but it has all been dressed up and kind of modified to give the impression that there is a Hindu-Muslim binary. So what Mr. Modi said in Rajasthan probably has had some impact, but not as much as what you would see it in the north. In general, the local issues which the BJP has tried to push, trying to communalize incidents, probably far more heft than what the Prime Minister has been saying.
But what about Sam Petroda's comment where he spoke about the inheritance tax, though that was an American example he was giving, and then all of a sudden BJP grabbed it up and started talking about the redistribution of wealth. So
Yeah.
how do you see that narrative also unfolding? The Virasat tax, the inheritance tax, which he was talking.
Yeah. So when this issue came up, obviously there was a buzz around it, but it doesn't seem to have really lasted because all this is it's pretty confusing about this inheritance tax and what there's once you get into technicalities, it's not very easy for the common voter to keep track of who's doing what, and they broadly take this message that the Congress is going to take away your wealth and etc. This kind of a narrative, but it doesn't seem to have that kind of a heft. I mean, at least in Karnataka, I mean, I don't see much.
All right. So let me come to Girish now. Girish, looking at the overall picture across 88 seats, in the first phase, people had started saying that, BJP is almost losing the narrative. It had lost the narrative in the first phase. But what do you feel with the second phase? Can it overtake India Alliance, or do you think that India Alliance still has some kind of an edge in terms of the narrative, in terms of the projection of their campaign? And has Modi really shot himself, in the foot by making a comment what he did in Rajasthan?
This is the habit of BJP. They're always trying. They've got cards in numbers. Card number 1, card number 2, card number 3. And when they start failing, but then they don't have new cards to play. And if you see, India Alliance has changed the system of attacking. It was not that which was previously. Either they were deliberately keeping silent. But much of it is that this time election does not go between India Gathbandhan and BJP. It's only people and the failure of BJP. If you talk to anybody on the street, they're talking something that what was told in 14, we believed them in 19. So 14 में they put foundation stone in a hope के 19 में आ जाएगा. और 19 में मालूम पड़ा कि वो milestone भी गुम हो गया है. So they don't know also what is now coming up. So it has happened to bullet train. See, they have procured very costly areas. They have paid money. Some are paid. There is dispute on that. It was a bullet train which practically impossible or not rather viable. We talked to some railway guys also, because today even if I minus the airport time, I reach to Bombay within 45 minutes. Why should I need bullet train for 2.5 hours? So those things that they brought have now come on the surface, and people have started realizing that this is just a bluff or a marketing strategy. This is not going to help anyway. In Gujarat also, if you see the way they did taxation, if you very well remember, in the initial stage, Rahul Bajaj was the first man to tell in presence of Home Minister and Prime Minister that tops tax terrorism. This tax terrorism was going on in Gujarat for last 30 years. We know that. You just can't go to the officer and ask him the question. You just can't. You have to send your chartered accountant. Chartered accountants were so big businessmen that they started playing both the ways. They used to leak the messages, and this, when we tell nobody believed us, but now after bond, everybody believes that. That the main culprits were the advisors who used to go and tell, iske paas itna paisa hai, isko itna notice de do, isse itna le lo.
Middlemen.
So what feeling has come up? So this time everybody is annoyed.
Right. So,
And
Sharajji,
Kshatriya,
yeah, and for the quick comments now in the final roundup, Sharajji, if I may come to you, we are seeing the BJP campaign and the level declining almost with every phase. What can we
Yeah.
expect, despite the Election Commission's notice, which was sent to Mr. JP Nadda and Mallikarjun Kharge yesterday on Modi's speech? Amit Shah today again, in fact, JP Nadda has made a similar comment again, saying that, if India Alliance government comes in, then all the facilities of the SC and the ST and the OBCs will be taken away. So basically, they don't have any remorse, and they think that what PM is doing and what PM is saying is absolutely correct. So are we going to expect the coming phases to get communally more bitter than what we have seen in the first two phases?
No, I don't think anything is going to deter them, because the only thing that could deter was the Election Commission. And the Election Commission has ceased to be an election commission anymore. It is not doing its job. It's only doing his master's voice. It's playing like it is master's voice, and that's the most shameful thing that could happen in this country. And Election Commission had earned the kind of credibility because it began with Sheshan. It continued with a couple of people, including Mr. Lindo, Mr. Qureshi. But now, my God, and Mr. Modi has they have served Mr. Modi very well. It's no more. I think it's become an arm of the PMO, because this very fact. First of all, they didn't do anything on electoral bonds, which they should have. Now, when it came to this kind of utterances, highly objectionable utterances, violative of the basic provisions of the election laws, and they come up with such a sham of issuing notices to JP Nadda. Mr. Modi is making the utterances. You are issuing notice to Nadda. If Rahul Gandhi is, you issue a notice to Rahul Gandhi and to Mr. Modi. They don't have this shows how demeaning and the kind of, I wouldn't hesitate to call it some kind of, it's a shame. Where is the Election Commission? That's the reason Election Commission never gave appointment to 26 political parties seeking an appointment. Can you imagine? Over that was over the EVMs. But there's not a question. And Rajiv Chauhan, what's his name? This fellow, the Chief Election Commissioner. My God,
Rajiv
that day at the press conference. Sorry?
Rajiv Kumar.
At the press conference. Yeah, Rajiv Kumar. At the press conference, he was making mockery of that question on EVMs, as if it's a big joke. We have all seen, the whole country has seen how EVMs have been. I was one of those who would always stand by this, that EVMs cannot be hacked. There's just no way. Because I had spoken to a number of people in the Election Commission whom I know personally. They said, no way. Some former Chief Election Commissioners also. And people who have no love lost for the BJP. But eventually now it is proved that, okay, they cannot be hacked because there is no internet connectivity. But they can be manipulated. And which we have seen. I have done on my own show. I brought this particular person who's an expert on that, and he showed how you can do it.
Right.
And that is where all this goes to show how all autonomous institutions, independent bodies have been completely are under subjugation. So it's
Right.
those. So I really hope that this election eventually turns out to be free and fair, and we know the outcome will tell us whether, after all that is happening and the ground situation that we are seeing, if after this BJP manages to sweep and they say, then they will come out and say, see, Mr. Modi is so popular. So Mr. Modi is popular because of EVMs.
You were talking about EVMs. One quick comment from both Dakshin and Girish. Today, Supreme Court has come out with a verdict where they rejected those petitions which sought for a return to the ballot papers, which have sought a 100% verification of the VVPAT slips. Now, they've ordered a few things like, there should be a barcode for the political parties, and if any candidate has any doubt, they can go back to, and get it examined, and then they will have to pay a certain amount. And if the EVM looks tampered, then EC will refund that money. So all those measures which have been directed by the Election Commission, at the end of the program, I would like to ask you that does it repose the faith of the voters? The voters, I mean, the basic premise of this entire petition was that the voters' confidence should be restored in the election process. Now, this verdict, what happens to the voters' confidence in the election process with this verdict?
Uh, you know, See, as far as the court is concerned, the court is trying to take a practical decision, okay, in the sense that um one of the things with the allegations against the EVMs is that there has been really no evidence that the EVMs can be hacked. Okay, now my point is, in fact, I wanted to mention this,
hacking,
that
and there's a difference between hacking and manipulation,
yes,
mind you.
exactly. So today, for instance, what has happened in Karnataka is, some the when you go to the point, when in the booth, the person who is supposed to press the master unit button, okay, what they're doing is they're not pressing that button. So the voter goes to the booth and they press this, whichever candidate they want to, and when they don't hear, most of them just go away. See, they don't. They are supposed to get that light and they're supposed to see it on the VVPAT. But what has happened is that very few people have done that, or how many people have done that, I don't know. But this is a new thing that they have tried, where after inking your finger, that person doesn't press the master button, the master unit button. And then not everybody is conscious about this. They just go there and they press the voting machine button, and when they don't see a light, they feel that okay, something is wrong, and they just go away. But the point here is their vote has not got recorded, and in fact, probably they keep a track of all this, and later on they press the button and get the vote of whoever they want. So this kind of manipulation is what is dangerous. But
And this is being
so
done
something,
after your fingers, after they have put
yes,
the indelible ink
on your finger.
on your finger. And this,
Correct.
I also got this from a retired brigadier from Bangalore.
Yeah.
He's this exactly this narrating this whole incident.
Yeah. So, in fact, I also spoke to some other people. They've also experienced this. Many of them got back to them and asked them to, ask them what happened, and then they pressed the master button. Those who didn't and they just left. Now, those votes are votes which these people, they can vote for anyone they want. So, this kind of manipulation is possible. Here, the court can't do anything. Here, it requires the consciousness of people, and they should insist that their vote be recorded. I think it's a far more complicated thing, than just hacking or manipulating the machine.
That leaves so much scope for them, particularly in rural areas where there
Yes.
is nobody to even assert themselves. The poor voter
Yes.
has no choice, and
Uh,
even
That
so
is
innocent.
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
bench of Justice Sanjeev Khanna and Dipankar Datta, they said that they've looked into all the technical aspects, but the social aspects still remain. A lot of questions remain whether the voters' confidence has been addressed. They haven't. That has been criticized a lot. But I don't want to go into the verdict. But your concluding thought on the second phase of elections and what can we expect now? There is a huge break, and now the next phase is on 7th of May. Yes, 7th of May. So,
Yeah.
long period. What can we really expect now?
Uh, you'll find one more round of campaigning, another set of issues coming up. So
New
basically,
issues.
the pot will keep boiling, and then the BJP will push its narrative and then take on the UPA, so the India Alliance. So the point here is, I think, probably one of the reasons why it's such a lengthy process. So each time, it's like a new round. You can again start the whole thing afresh. So I think I see it's, I see it like that, and it definitely works to the advantage of the ruling party.
Certainly.
Okay, so Girish,
I
your
also
concluding
believe
thoughts?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Girish, your concluding thoughts, and then I'll end the program.
Supreme Court should have waited for 24 hours. Today, what has happened in Tripura? The election counting is 109% on record. How is that?
Yeah.
And then again in Bagpat, once there was 0 voters, immediately somebody picked up the EVM and he rushed somewhere out. So what are these happening? These now they should go for a revision application, giving all these incidences. Many things will happen in smaller booths, and this is a very wise thing. This they are trying to do in Gujarat also. As they have boycotted the total election. And today only, when this has come to Supreme Court by third, that Nota should always be there as a candidate. So this will affect the things that they have done in Surat. Now we get the message that they were trying for Rupala in Rajkot also, but very intelligently Congress posted a very powerful man, that Paresh Dhanani. So they are trying very badly, but they will have to be very alert and have counter to everything. And court should again be made aware of that these things are happening.
Right. But like the first phase, there were a lot of reports of people boycotting the elections from Nagaland, Tamil Nadu, also in UP's Pilibhit. At this time, also there are reports from Parbhani, which is a district in Maharashtra. There are reports of people boycotting the elections because of the local issues. So maybe this election 2024 is more about the local issues rather than the national themes. But BJP wants the entire election to remain on the national themes, which unfortunately is not in BJP's favor. But yes, India Alliance looks like in the advantageous position in terms of the narrative that they have been able to make this election very, very local. Like as what I said, in Pilibhit, people were protesting over a bridge. In Parbhani today, they protested over some kind of an encroachment which was done, and that became the reason of the boycott. But as I said, the next phase is on 7th May, so it's a long break. And as Dakshan said, we'll see a new set of issues and a new campaign narrative coming up. So we'll have to wait and watch. Okay, so I think the inheritance tax and the redistribution of wealth will see a full stop. I hope so. But let's see how the campaign unfolds now. Thank you so much, Girish, Dakshan, Karaji. Thank you very much for joining the debate. And wonderful to the viewers who are watching this discussion. Subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to the Federal.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.